has never seen a more magnificent assembly of athletic manhood.
The March Past has been a colourful centrepiece of Australia's surf life-saving movement since the beginning of competition. In those days, there were 20 members to a team, but for the past 50 years, the standard has been 12. From the late 50s to 1987, the March Past was dominated by exceptional teams from Bundaberg and Collaroy, and their record was only broken twice, in 1981 by North Cronulla and in 1986 by Freshwater. 5 teams took out the Australian Championships in the 10 years from 1988 to 1997, Freshwater 4 times, South Australia's Southport 3 times, and once each for Bundaberg, Corrimal and North Cronulla. Most teams are filled by mature club members. Women have also become enthusiastic competitors, and the introduction of the junior or nippers movement has added yet another dimension. Nippers compete in March Past events throughout the country. The introduction of juniors also prompted a change in dress, and their more modern and sun-safe uniforms are now being adopted by others. While this video is principally an aid for March Past coaching and judging, we hope it will encourage clubs to develop more teams. There are 8 sections in a March Past competition, with each one evaluated by 3 judges. Each judge is supplied with a card showing the faults to be considered and the maximum points to be deducted for each section.
In the March Past, you've got to get 12 blokes look like one. That's literally what it is. It's
not easy.
No, it's not easy.
When music is provided, each team member should march in time with the pennant bearer, placing the ball of his or her left foot on the sand in time to the accentuated beat of the bass drum. The music should be timed at between 100 and 105 beats per minute. If there is no music, members should march at between 100 and 105 paces per minute. This can be achieved by counting the paces of each pennant bearer over a period of 10 seconds. 18 paces would represent a marching rate of 108 paces per minute, 17 paces 102, and 16 96 paces per minute. Ideally, coaches should choose a pennant bearer with a good ear for music and able to maintain a constant beat. Line marching without music will help the team adjust to the pennant bearer's time. Judges allocated this section should also have a good ear for music and be able to pick the accentuated beat of the drum. They may choose to finger slap their leg or use another unrecognisable method to help maintain the beat of the music. If there is no music, the timing mechanism described previously may be used. Judges must decide if teams are uniform and if members are in time, both with each other and with the music. If, for example, the pennant bearer is in time with the music and members of the team are not, it is a deduction of 1 fault for each person out of time. If all the team is out of time, it is a deduction of 12 points. Arms must be swung uniformly and to a matching height. The swing should be free, neither hooked nor bent, with the arm swinging in front of the body and to the rear so that the hand can be seen behind the buttock. Shoulder movement should be minimal, and hands should be clasped with thumbs on top of the index fingers.
Come on, Ray, you think about your arm swing, don't you be late.
Single file, pair or column marching can help coaches develop uniformity within their teams. Mixing the ranks also encourages uniformity. Watch the front and rear view of the team to detect any crossing of the arms or flaying at the rear. Judges should note whether team members are uniform in their method of swing, both forward and to the rear. Body shapes may be different, but arm swings must be uniform, clearing both the front and rear of the body. There should be minimal shoulder movement, and hands must be clasped with thumbs on top of the index fingers.
Now, if it's down like that, it's a deduction.
Watch for hooked arms as well, or irregular swing height between team members. This is often seen in the rear rank, as the alternate arm swings forward and back. It can also be seen with this belt person. This is a critical and most important section for elite teams. It's also the first section where a countback may be necessary because of tied scores.
As they wheel around, they should be so aligned you only see one person.
Pennant bearers do not have to change their length of pace around a wheel. If they proceed around the 90 degrees of a wheel in 9 equal paces, their team should be able to execute a superb wheel. Pennant bearers are required to wheel at a radius of 2.7 metres for senior competitions and 2.025 metres for juniors. Coaches could find it useful to permanently mark a correct wheel for each member of the team, either within the clubhouse or on some adjacent hard surface. Pennant bearers must be able to assess the correct distance from the wheeling peg. Front wheel handle carriers should march at least one pace past the wheeling peg to enable the pivots to start the wheel in the correct position. As a training exercise, individual team members should march their own paces around the wheel and then form into subgroups such as pennant bearer and belt person, reel party with pivots, and rear rank members so that as units they can perform a good wheel. Judges for this section need a tape or measured string marked to the correct distance for the pennant bearer. Discreetly mark the wheeling radius of the pennant bearer. To accurately determine the start and finish lines, judges should mark a right angle to the extreme edge of the arena by lining up the alternate wheeling peg with the next or preceding peg. To judge distance and wheel commencement, they should view the pennant bearer at a right angle as he or she crosses the imaginary start line. The same position should be held to judge the belt person, both pivots and the rear rank, to make sure they have begun on the imaginary start line. Turn left into the wheel to reassess the pivots for being in line, and then address the spacing and dressing of the rear rank for the second time. As the wheeling graphics show, the red dots are completing a correct wheel. Various errors are illustrated by the graphics with the white dots. Judges should mark their cards with the total number of faults and, if possible, indicate what they were by ticking the appropriate areas on the judging cards. Deductions are made on the basis of 1 point per file or rank, not per person.
Setting up a small training arena with the imaginary start and finishing wheeling lines plus the correct distance out from the pole for the standard bearer will assist. A good training exercise in the early part of the season or with a newly formed group is to split the team into sections and then add in each section until the team is complete. First starting with the standard bearer and belt person. Then add in the reel party. Following on, add in the axle or drum members. Giving the real party a bit of a rest, do some rounds with the back line only to get them right. Then to complete the exercise, put the whole team together for several rounds of the arena. For judging of a wheel, remember that the judge stands still in the one position to assess the first 4 judging points, then moves across to assess the last 2 points of the wheel. Then moves back to the original position to judge the next team. For consistency in all teams, some judges like to measure their standing distance from the pole by touching it with their hand, but this is a personal choice.